Hey there, welcome to the next video in the Bitbucket Blitz video series. In the last video, I showed you how you can spend less time on CI/CD configuration and maintenance by splitting your Bitbucket pipeline.yaml files into shareable, reusable pipeline.yaml files. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can share artifacts between parent and child pipelines. This makes it easy to build modular pipelines that can be reused across multiple repositories, reducing the total lines of CI/CD YAML teams have to maintain and update. Bitbucket Pipelines makes it possible to build reusable pipelines and share them between repositories. These reusable shared pipelines need a way to share artifacts. Otherwise, we'll have to repeat expensive steps like downloading and installing dependencies and building application code. You can now specify an artifact section for child pipelines with upload and download keywords. Artifacts listed under upload will be moved from the parent pipeline into the child pipeline where they can be used and potentially modified. Artifacts listed under download will be moved from the child pipeline up a level to the calling parent pipeline where they can be used and potentially passed to other child pipelines. In this way, a parent pipeline could download artifacts from a build child pipeline and then upload them to a testing child pipeline. Now, let's look at an example of how you can share artifacts between parent and child pipelines.
All right, we're going to take a look at this repository called Shared Artifacts Demo. In this repository, the Bitbucket Pipeline.yaml file has been set up so that it has multiple child pipelines and it passes artifacts back and forth between them. So let's drill in really quickly and take a look at that. So if we click on the file and we go all the way to the bottom, we'll see that we have our default pipeline set up, and the default pipeline has 4 steps of type pipeline. So this is the syntax where you can invoke a custom child pipeline. So the first child pipeline is the build pipeline. The second one is the test pipeline. The third one is a static analysis pipeline. And then finally, we have a deployment pipeline. Now, if we take a look at the artifact syntax here, we can see that we've got a keyword download here. And if we go a little lower, we have a keyword upload here. So with shared artifacts between parent and child pipelines, you can think of these keywords from the parent pipeline's perspective. So in this case, the parent pipeline is the default pipeline, and the build pipeline is the child pipeline. The test pipeline is the child pipeline. When the parent pipeline sets artifacts under upload, this means that the parent pipeline is going to load those artifacts into the child pipeline. So the child pipeline will have access to them. When the parent pipeline specifies download like this, it means that the parent pipeline is going to download the most up-to-date version of these artifacts from the child pipeline. So then if we look at how these steps flow a little bit, we have the build pipeline, which doesn't upload any artifacts. So the parent pipeline is not sending anything to the build pipeline, but the build pipeline, we're downloading the build artifacts from it and something called pipeline report. Later, when the test steps execute, the parent pipeline is going to upload the build artifacts from the build step to the test pipeline. And it's also going to upload the pipeline report because this is a running log of what's happening in the pipeline. After this step finishes, the parent pipeline is then going to download the updated pipeline report and the test results. If we look at the static analysis step, again, the parent pipeline is going to upload the build results to the static analysis pipeline and upload the pipeline report so that that file can be updated. And it's going to download the updated pipeline report and the results of the check style check. Finally, on the deployment section, we're going to have the parent pipeline upload the build results and upload the pipeline report. And then at the end, download the pipeline report and download the build zipped up as if it was ready for deployment. Now let's take a look at the rest of the structure of this Bitbucket Pipeline.yaml file. So we scroll back up to the top, we can see that we're importing 2 pipelines from different files. So the first thing we're importing is our static analysis pipeline from a file called static analysis pipeline.yaml that's in this repository. We're also grabbing our test file from another repository called multiple file test and the mainline branch of that, and a file called cpp test. Now, if we scroll down and we take a look at the definitions here, we can see that we define our build steps in this pipeline. So we've got build summary, and we define our deployment steps in this file as well. So we've got a check lambda step, a create lambda step, and an update lambda step. And if we keep scrolling a little further, we can see we've defined our pipelines. So the build pipeline is going to run the 2 steps we've defined above, build and build summary. The test pipeline is just going to run the test pipeline that we've imported from the other file. Our static analysis pipeline is just going to run the pipeline that we've imported from the static analysis file that's in this repository. Our deployment pipeline is going to run the check lambda, create lambda, update lambda, and deployment summary steps that are also defined in here. So in this way, you can define different pipelines in various different files. You can share them between repositories, and you can now pass artifacts between them. So if this static analysis pipeline requires some artifacts, you can invoke it and you can pass from the parent pipeline defined in your Bitbucket Pipeline.yaml file the artifacts that are necessary for that pipeline to run. And you can download from that pipeline any artifacts that you want to take a look at or have on hand to utilize later.
All right. Thank you for watching and learning how you can share artifacts between parent and child pipelines. You can learn more by following the link in the QR code. An easy way to try this in your own workspace is to move your build logic into a separate child pipeline and have the parent pipeline download the build artifacts and share them with the rest of the steps. In this way, you can reduce developer time spent on CI/CD YAML maintenance.